Sup?
How's it going?
Welcome to another episode of Powerful Nonsense.
Yes.
It's very cold in here.
We actually
today.
turn off the heating just so that you could have good quality sound.
Sacrifices are being made
My feet are frozen.
for you. I can't feel my toes. I feel like I have no toes. Welcome to episode 139.
Yes.
And also, if you join us on Facebook Live, hi.
Hello, guys.
We're testing this out, seeing how it goes. So
Tune in.
comment, like, all that stuff.
Shares.
Share. Yes, definitely share if you're on Facebook Live, because it's a test, so we're going to see how it goes. So if it goes well, we'll do it more. So
Yes.
we're doing a slightly different episode today to
Bit
what
of a
we've done for a while.
throwback to one of our first ever podcasts.
Yeah, actually.
The old Creative Types, which may be still live on iTunes
I'm
somewhere.
pretty sure you can still find it, actually. I'm almost tempted to look now, but I'm not going to. Yeah, so if you've been watching Netflix recently, you'll know that Black Mirror has made the return with a 6-episode series. It was on Channel 4 originally, but Netflix have snapped it up.
They bought that right up.
Although slightly disappointed that it was a little bit more American heavy. Because it was one of Britain's great TV series. I mean, it was pretty much half and half, but all of the previous seasons were set in Britain, and now it's a little bit.
Now the Americans were like, no, we can't understand it unless it's set in our scenery.
So I was a little bit disappointed with that, but otherwise,
It's
I
back
think
and it was good.
yes, back good, still on form. I think the quality was still there. So we thought, given that we talk about like the future quite a little bit on this podcast, that it might be a good idea to do kind of like a general discussion around season 3 of Black Mirror.
Yeah, I think we've actually come up.
Are we going to limit it to season 3, or are we going to do?
To be honest, I don't remember too many of the previous, so I reckon
Okay.
keep it as season 3, and then maybe we can.
I mean, I'm sure
you might
things will
bring
come
some
up anyway.
stuff up from there.
But yes, so the focus being on season 3 of Black Mirror, which is 6 episodes.
And we kind of just want to riff on the idea of like all this stuff is kind of we're thinking, wow, I can't believe this may exist in the future, but a lot of it actually is based
Already
on stuff
exists.
that exists.
Well, the thing I love about Black Mirror is the fact that Charlie Brooker and team, because I think it's a team now. I don't think it's just Charlie Brooker writing it. I think it's a group of people now writing it. I might be wrong on that.
Although it does just say written by Charlie Brooker, so
Oh, maybe it is still just Charlie Brooker then. Okay, interesting. But yeah, he takes technology that already exists and then he kind of takes it several steps further and kind of goes, okay, what's the next step and the next step and the next step?
or he just takes it like imagination-wise to an extreme.
Yeah.
Like, what if you had this and then you just abused it?
Yeah. So that's where I find it really, really interesting because it's like, what if all of this great stuff that we got now just gets completely abused, as you say?
And we also want to say, for people who are tuning in and probably have never heard of Black Mirror, I'd probably advise go watch a couple of episodes first.
Yes.
Because otherwise you're like, I do not have a clue what these guys are talking about.
And also, for those that have never tuned into Powerful Nonsense,
I'm
Wayne Ingram.
And I'm Jim Ewing. Just
Always
to
forget.
lay the foundations
Always
of what
forget
the hell you're
to do
listening
that.
to and what's going on there.
So, I think the obvious question to start with, Jem, is favourite episode.
For me, and probably one that's had the most impact, is probably the virtual reality one, which was episode...
Which virtual reality? Because there were 2 virtual reality ones from my mind.
It was the one like where the guy, he was going travelling, put on his little headset thingy, and then they put him into that haunted house, and suddenly he starts visualising all the things he fears the most, and it's to kind of help you get over those fears, which I found pretty fascinating.
And why was that one your favourite?
That was my favourite because that one decided to like interrogate my dreams and is still interrogating my dreams.
Really?
Which is really, really weird. So the whole concept of that episode, if just to recap, is like I say, the guy goes and tests out this new product which allows you to kind of overcome your fears by putting you into this virtual reality world. You go into this haunted house and then suddenly you start experiencing the things that you fear the most. And it was so weird because literally the night after I watched the episode, I was dreaming, and I dream a lot. Like I can almost like lucid dream very often, so I can actually know what I'm doing in my dreams. And then that night after watching that episode, I remember because I get a bit like anxiety when I'm in like massively open spaces, like away from everybody. And so my actual brain, in a weird way, I don't know how this worked, but my brain went to me, okay, I know you don't like being like deep in forest, like in the middle of nowhere. So in my dream, my brain put me in the middle of the forest and said, look, this is just a dream, but I want you to experience the forest in a safe environment.
Oh, I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, and so my brain actually put me in a situation naturally, which was a fearful situation of me, But while I was dreaming, I knew I was dreaming, so I knew it was a safe environment to
explore and test things.
and just see how I felt. And then, this is another weird thing. Then last night, I just told my girlfriend this morning. So last night, I hate flying. You know I don't like flying. Yeah. And then last night, I had another dream. And in that dream, it was actually Darren Brown had put me into into a trance where I could experience a plane crash safely.
Shit.
And so he said, you're going to be in a lot of fear while this plane crashes, but it's not going to be real. So always understand, just let yourself have the emotion.
So Darren Brown was basically telling you this is a dream.
Yeah, Darren Brown was telling me it's a dream, but he said, but in this dream, I'm going to put you in a trance where you're going to experience a plane crash and you're going to feel the extreme of crashing, but you're not going to die. And so he was talking me through that process. And then I woke up this morning and I was like, oh my God, I've experienced a plane crash and I survived it. And I felt the fear while I was dreaming.
You should totally tweet Darren Brown and be like, thanks for guiding me through that plane crash in my dream last night.
It's ridiculous.
See what he says.
And so like...
Maybe he was like, yeah, I was there too.
I don't,
you were in my dream as well.
maybe. But I don't know why my brain does this to me. But it was basically mimicking the kind of concept of that episode and putting me in situations where I was quite fearful, but letting me do it in my dream state, which is just mental and sounds ridiculous, but that's what happens in my head when I dream.
So did you encounter any spider people with faces?
No, maybe that's not my fear.
Honestly, that completely freaked me the hell out. I was like, huh?
It's weird when it's like right next to him.
Oh no, don't!
And he's like, just staring.
Totally freaked me out. Then.
He's just staring, and his head's just like.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I mistakenly watched that episode like at 12 o'clock that night, so I had to put some Lee Evans on afterwards.
Really?
To,
you was actually like that freaked out?
Yeah. Well, it was the spiders thing, and ugh. But no, that was a really, really clever episode, and I think what the point that was kind of being made is like, at what point are we with virtual reality and using virtual reality for entertainment purposes? Because it was a video game, that was the idea.
Yeah.
It was a horror video game, but like, at what point are we overstepping the mark? Because then because what you're experiencing is going to be so real. What psychological harm and even physical harm could you cause yourself through creating these ultra real experiences through virtual reality?
And because in it he dies, doesn't he? So I should have not put that. Have I just done a spoiler?
You should have. Can you edit in try and remember a spoiler alert?
Oh yeah, spoiler alert. Sorry guys. I'll try to drop that in there somewhere. But anyway, like you say, a bodily experience to an extreme.
You're everything I hate about entertainment audiences.
I'm sorry. But we were hoping that whoever's watched this has already...
Yeah, for the record, from this point, from that point, Wayne's
going to stop me when I'm about to make a spoiler. Hopefully.
Can we... Well, if you haven't watched the Black Mirror episodes, please, for your own sake, go and watch them. We full permission to stop this now. Go watch them all and then come back. Because Jem's going to spoil all of them.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. But like you say, taking things to extreme and what kind of effect could they have? But then already what I found quite fascinating is that they're actually using this virtual reality stuff already to help people overcome, like, not fears so much, but actually like trauma or... So
well, you could do cognitive behavioural therapy and all that.
It is basically cognitive.
In fact, I'm sure CBT was mentioned in the episode, actually.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it was.
Yeah. And so, like, they've already got that for people who have, like, social anxiety. They've already got, you put the headset on, you walk into a bar and you start chatting to people at the bar and it tests how much fear you're getting, and it keeps, every time you get into it and you get fear, then you keep doing it over and over again, and all these things already exist and they're just testing it out. And because those goggles make you feel so in the world, like, I've done a horror VR experience on my phone, and it is bloody scary, and you're, like, freaking out looking around.
I can't deal with playing Halo on my TV. And the flood, the horrible aliens. Like, I still can't get through a Halo game in one sitting because I'm like, no, I have to take a break.
I'm just like excited for like Resident Evil in like VR. That is going to be so bloody scary.
I'm such a pansy. I can't.
You wouldn't be able to handle it. You'd be screaming.
I mean, as I say, I can't handle it on my TV screen, let alone immersed in it in virtual reality.
Yeah. But I do think it's just going to get more and more where they're going to be testing this out and seeing how far they can push it. But like you say, like, could that cause more trauma, or actually could that just allow people to just get over a lot of fears a lot faster?
So I was going to talk about my favourite episode, but actually this was like number 2 for me. And seeing as we're on the virtual reality thing, I feel like it makes sense to talk about this one next. Was the whatever it was called, episode 3, which was the other virtual reality episode, which was the one where basically they go there, they upload their consciousness to this virtual reality.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh, that's a great
again,
episode.
spoiler alert, because I think it's, if you haven't watched it, go watch it now before I tell you this, because I had a lot of fun trying to work out and trying to second guess where it was going. I fucking called it. I got it right. But basically the idea is that they upload their consciousness for when they die, so that they become a computer program, essentially. But to them, they're still conscious. And I really, my housemate watched it with me. And then we started that debate of like, would you?
But was the idea as well that you couldn't upload your consciousness unless you made a decision to? Like, if you died in real life, you could never do it, so you had to choose to die earlier on the basis that you could live forever.
That's right, You had to be in a controlled environment when you died, in order for them to be able to copy your consciousness and upload it. But what I thought was really interesting and what I thought was really cool about it was this idea that there was like a free trial.
Oh, yeah.
And they kind of upsold you on the whole thing. It's like you can have 5 hours once a week in this virtual reality city.
What was it actually called? It was something like...
Passing over, they called it.
Yeah, they called it passing over, but the actual therapy itself was like a... I can't remember the word for it. Not like euphoric behavioural therapy. It was something like that. They gave it an actual name.
It was probably something like that,
Yeah, I forgot. I literally had the name in my head, but it was kind of going... It was a therapy which allows you just to experience things in your past.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that old thing where you sit with your nan and you just let her speak about
Right.
the war and what she'd been through and all her boyfriends and her husbands and her experiences, and it was allowing them to really vividly experience those.
Yeah, no, it was... I actually felt that this was the cleverest of the episodes.
Yeah.
I thought it was the most intellectually executed. It was the most heartwarming one. And there was just, again, I had so much fun, like trying to work it out as it was going, something's not right. And because you know Black Mirror by this point, you're like, no, something's not quite right. And something feels off about this girl, and you're trying to work it out.
That start of that episode felt so slow for me. I was like, what's going on here? It took so long to kind of deliver the actual structure of like what the special thing about this episode was, that I think like the first half an hour you're just like, what the hell is going on?
But that's what drew me in, because I was there going, because it was so annoying, because it would always do that thing where it'd get to midnight and you're like, what happens at midnight? I want to know what happens at midnight. And then it'd go black and you're like, it's going to skip a week again, isn't it? And then it'd skip a week, and then the final time it did it, I was like, for God's sake, I just want to know. But it was honestly, I really, really enjoyed that episode. So back to the question I asked my housemate. Would you upload your consciousness to a computer program?
I was talking to my girlfriend about this, and I think ultimately we know that our brain's already the bulk of our experiences, which make us human. So if a program will do that, I guess, like, why not? But the only ethical dilemma you have there is that now you're invincible. And I think, like they say with human life, like, you only find meaning because it's finite. And I think that in that situation, you'd be like, well, I'm here forever now, so I might as well experience everything. It's like what Alan Watts talks about all the time. He's like, if you could dream any dream, what would it be? In this world, you literally can do that. And so eventually you'll dream the dream where you finally die because you want to experience death. And so will you then just want to unplug? So I think...
But then by that point, you've already experienced death.
Yeah, but have you really experienced death if you're not
suppose you
really...
haven't, because you've... Yeah,
exactly. So that would be the last ever possible experience you could have, is to actually truly feel death. And so would it get to the point where you try everything and it just... I think with that much freedom, I think it would take away life. And I think you'd get to the point where you think, oh, it sounds really romantic to be able to live in this virtual world with my girlfriend for the rest of time. But it's like...
But then the episode kind of addressed that, because they had their... What did they call it? That creepy nightclub.
Oh, yeah.
Where and she said at the end, where she was saying, like, are you just going to end up being one of those people where you're trying to experience so many things that you're just experiencing crazy things just because you've experienced everything already? Yeah. And all you've got left is all these really crazy things on the extremes. Yeah. And do you just want to become those fucked up individuals that are trying all that stuff?
That's what I mean. I think it is one of those yin yang. There's no yes, no to it. It sounds exciting, but I think... ultimately, it's as a human to experience life to that extent and be able to have that unlimited options to fail a million times in everything and try everything, try everybody, try it. I think that's it. It takes the kind of meaning out of life in some ways, but it scares me, and it in the same way that this kind of technology exists, in the idea that people have got like smart gravestones.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I said to my housemate, I was like, okay, yeah, it seems a little bit fantastical. I was like, but actually, the only part of that bit that we are missing is the ability to download someone's consciousness.
Yeah, which I think will come anyway.
Which really, if you think about it, the idea is fairly the execution is complex, but the idea, because it's all electrical signals, is fairly straightforward. It's just working out how to do it.
Well, in the same way, like, as you as an actor, like, if you wanted to research somebody enough, if I said to you for the next year, you have got to research me and my experiences and my thoughts and feelings, and from that point onwards, you're going to become me.
In a year's time,
you're going to act like me. So, like, if I say, okay, I need you to learn everything about the way I do things so that you can play me going forward.
Yeah, that's
in the
perfectly
same way,
possible.
There are patterns of behaviour that I do, and there's my experiences that have kind of moulded me, and therefore they're replicatable.
Yeah.
And so, why not?
Yeah.
Which is quite scary.
Yeah.
But it's true. Ultimately, you're just a bunch of your own experiences, and if a computer can kind of find that pattern and it can learn your behaviours, then like,
we've already got those, which an episode in season 2 was actually done, funnily enough. We've already got that technology that will read your social media uploads and then continue to post on social media as if it was you.
It knows what you would be interested in, the kind of way you'd speak, and so it's all there happening. It's just how far is it going to go? Like, he's pushed it to that extreme. Yeah. And I know we need to take a bit of a break.
We need to take a bit of a break. So when we come back, I will talk about my favourite episode. So we thought we'd just take a few seconds just to say thank you to our sponsor, the University of Northampton. Huge thank you to them for supporting the show. So why should you check them out? Well, first of all, we're alumni. We went there. So everything that we kind of deliver to you, it kind of comes from them in a way. But also, they're not just about getting a degree. The thing we love about Northampton Uni from experience is the fact that you come out of your course with your degree, but also there's so many options on the table. They understand that it's not just about going out and getting a job anymore. It's also about the possibility of setting up your own business and becoming an entrepreneur. And to top that off, it's not just about setting up a business, it's about setting up a social enterprise. That's their specialist area. So if you're thinking of setting up a business, it can also be one that's doing good to the world and delivering social impact. So check them out, northampton.ac.uk, and huge thank you to them for supporting the show. Welcome back.
And we're talking Black Mirror.
Honestly, I love this TV show. It
is really, really good.
I'm so excited for it.
It's stuff that I already think about myself. I was even saying to my girlfriend, I've already, when I was back at uni and I was writing scripts and stuff, I was thinking of these kind of things in my head. I just didn't have the badass ability of writing Charlie Brooker, and I love thinking about where something could go to an extreme.
Yeah, me too. And I think that's why we like having those sorts of conversations on the podcast where we're kind of thinking future. So I want to talk about my favourite episode. I think you probably know which one my favourite episode is going to be. So as we've eliminated 2 already out of 6.
I don't know, because my
which one do you think my favourite episode is? I want to know. I'm intrigued.
I don't know, maybe actually the first one, of course, yeah.
Bang on.
Because I think we talk about that the most, but actually my second favourite one is not that one, but I did like that one.
Yeah, that one was my favourite because I think that one...
sums up.
Sums up, exactly. It is so present day right now. And you've written a blog post about it. We talk about it all the time, the way that people are about social media, and it's all about self-gratification and all that sort of stuff, and measuring your success based on how many likes a photo gets.
Your social equity.
Yeah, and all of that sort of stuff. And I just thought it was such a... I don't necessarily want to say clever episode, because I don't think it was particularly clever.
It was just taking...
but it was just bang on.
Situation to the extreme. Do you want to kind of just sum up what the kind of synopsis of...
So the general idea of episode 1, which you should have watched it because we've already told you to watch all the episodes, but the idea being that essentially instead of paying for things with currency, you're paying for things based off of your social influence, your social media influence. So everybody's rated out of 5. And the people at the top of the food chain are the 5-star people, and the people at the bottom are 2.5 or below. If you're 2.5 or below, people don't want to know you.
Didn't they have the higher class who were 7.5 as well?
So I think it was 4.5 or higher. Oh,
yeah, they had really high. The people when she was going.
I thought you couldn't go above 5.
No, because
maybe I missed that.
No, because basically she was going to her friend's wedding, and she already was told. She went to a consultant that was talking about how to improve your score, and he said, well, at this wedding there's going to be 7.5s. 6.7s, all higher.
I must have missed that bit.
So actually, she was saying, because if you hang around if you're say a 3.5 person, you go hang out with a 7.5 and they give you 5-star, they have more influence. They can push you up higher. Right. So is the idea that actually the elite, the the Kardashians of the world would be at like an A because of influence. And so if you went and got a 5-star from one of the Kardashians, you suddenly would hike up in your score.
Well, yeah, because more people, because they're so highly influential, more people would see, you get more exposure because one of the Kardashians has gone, look at this guy.
Yeah.
And you see it on Instagram all the time, like all of the models being like, follow my super hot friend. They probably don't really know all that well, but they've probably gone doing each other a favour and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And I just thought it's just summed up because I have really begun to become really cynical about the narcissism around social media. I think I've said that on record on the podcast before, but if not, I'm really narcissistic and cynical about cynical about the narcissism of. Don't edit that, so it just says I'm really narcissistic.
I just cut it right there.
But yeah, and I just kind of felt like it summed it up completely. Like the problem is for me, of course, is because I am in an industry which I'm putting myself in the public eye. I kind of have to begrudgingly take part. I feel sometimes, and that's the hard bit for me. But I see so many people just being like, well, I think we've talked about it. Like someone I know who had a wedding and was like posting as if they had their own reality TV show, and that's kind of
up to date, like Facebook Live in pictures, every angle.
Yeah, and it's just like that's wonderful, but I don't really care. And I just kind of felt like this episode just completely summed it up, and particularly looking at people that are influencers on social media and the amount of money they make and the amount of free stuff that they get given, like having influence on social media is already paying off for people. And when you're being judged, you don't have currency. Instead, your currency is how much influence do you have.
What I found really interesting as well was that they kind of looked upon anybody with really low scores as someone who was like a social recluse, unsafe, was outside of society, therefore they were a bit risky. And it's kind of that idea, like if you're not visible on social media even today, people are like, where have you been? Like, what's been up? Has something been wrong? Like, why haven't you been sharing pictures? Like, what if you, as someone who shares posts and stuff online, what if you just stopped tomorrow? And how long would it take before someone was like, and then you came back on the scene, everybody like, did you have a breakdown? Something go wrong? Family issues? The first thing is, if you're not sharing, there's something wrong, or you're just a weirdo, or you're trying to hide something. What are you trying to hide? And it was this idea that like you have to, the more visible you are, the more you seem as like if you are going on holidays and you're doing all the things that you should be doing, then people feel you're in control and they know, okay, you do those things, we do these things, we're all the same. But the minute you stop doing that, everybody looks at you like you're the weirdo, because why aren't you willing to share? Are you doing something dark in your secret time by yourself? Like,
how much has changed? I remember I had resistance to joining Facebook because I was like, I don't want everybody to know what I'm doing all the time. Because whereas with MySpace, it was like it shared very limited information, whereas with Facebook, you only had to click on something. It felt like, and it was like, they've just clicked on that. Everyone, they've clicked on that, and it was just like it felt too public. Whereas now it's almost the opposite. It's like, well, if you're not doing that, what's wrong? Yeah. So we've got 2 other episodes, I think, to talk about. 3 other episodes.
3 other episodes, actually. I don't know if we're going to get through them all, but hopefully. Another one that really, really stood out for me was, I don't know which episode it was. It was the army one.
Yeah, that was probably going to be my next one, actually.
And I thought that one was really, really clever at a time where we've got all these sort of like refugees. There's a lot of war. There's a lot of othering going on, which I think the whole episode was about, this concept of othering other people and this.
Can you just clarify othering other people?
So it's this idea where you say it's them and us. It's kind of like where the news, even when the news calls like a teenager with a hood on a yob, it doesn't say they're a human or a person. It's kind of, you define them. You don't call them humans, you call them refugees. So you use words to kind of separate people from actually being like yourself, and like people call people the homeless, and then you've got people who are in society and part of society. And so just by doing that, you other them, which means that there's so many psychological studies that show that you then have less empathy towards them, and you may treat them in ways that are so unethical, but because they're not like you, it's easier to treat them ways. It's the same, don't want to bang on about veganism, but it's the same way that people don't look at animals. Say you wouldn't eat a dog, but you happily eat a cow, and so you've othered the cow because the cow is a burger, but the dog is your pet. So it's that kind of concept around that.
Yeah.
Bit of banging going on there.
What is going on out there?
Never mind.
It's war zone.
But and I guess it was that idea of that episode was that the army in some ways were programming their...
Well, where I thought it was interesting was because it wasn't even about, because I picked up on that whole kind of us versus them thing a little bit, but for me the thing that really jumped out, and again maybe it's because I'm much more technology focused and that's why I love Black Mirror, because I love the technology side of it, was this idea that, because I have always said to you, we've had the debate about virtual reality, and I have always said to you, augmented reality is far more important than virtual reality.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, this episode was about augmented reality, because they used augmented reality to cover up that these other people, whatever in the context of that social side, these other people that they don't agree with because they might be diseased, they might have certain political allegiances, there might be a certain class or whatever. This augmented reality distorted the vision of the people so that they were seeing yobbos and these monsters in this instance. But the idea that if the government really wanted to, and we were all had this augmented reality built into us, which, let's be honest, given how much people have picked up smartphones, would not be unreasonable to suspect that augmented reality could become mainstream. How much can then the people in the other side controlling what we're seeing influence the way that we behave to make us believe that it's reality?
And I think what Charlie Brooker was trying to say is using that augmented reality to be a metaphor for the media. Yeah, and I think that's what he did incredibly well. And it is that idea that, yes, we might not be putting a lens in our eye or have a chip in our head, but the media are uploading thoughts and feelings and perspectives on people.
And this idea as well. This episode, and I think one of the reasons I liked it so much was it was so multi-layered. Mm-hmm. Because even to the point that they had gamified the extermination of these creatures, which turned out, spoiler, to not really be creatures at all, but actually just normal people that society didn't agree with. This idea that they had gamified the extermination of them to the point that, like, did everybody have like sex dreams? Was that the idea? That was the vibe I picked up, that everybody got.
I think what it was is that
it was like porn.
Yeah, but basically, you want to, obviously in the army, you're away from your partner for so long, and so to keep them thinking rationally,
right? Okay,
because otherwise
I missed that connection.
Yeah, so you can kind of be not on top form if all you're thinking about is missing your partner. So to kind of reward them, here's some time to do whatever you want with your partner, right? And now you can be focused on the war tomorrow. Okay, yeah. Which I think that was
the connection that I missed, but I missed. I definitely got the point that they would win. They would win sexy time, essentially.
Yeah, plus it's a pleasure system. If you suddenly can kill and do something to an extreme, and then suddenly you get rewarded with this amazing experience with your partner, then of course you suddenly got that pleasure trap.
I just thought it was again one of the really, really clever episodes of the season. It was so multi-layered,
and I think just for the time right now that we're in and what we're currently seeing in the news, I think I hope people got that part of it, because I know it's like one of those things where you might watch Matrix when you're young and you don't really see it. You see it as, wow, that's a cool show, but actually I hope that people watch that and actually think about it in context of that other ring that is actually going on today.
Yeah, definitely. So we're running low on time. So we've got two more episodes that we need to talk about.
Okay.
And I can remember the one, which is the last episode, which you haven't finished and I haven't finished.
No, I was trying to catch up last night, but I was knackered.
I've got 15 minutes. I had like 15 minutes left before I had to come here to record the episode. So we'll let you draw your own conclusion. I think with that one, it's fairly obvious.
Yeah.
From what I've watched, it's fairly obvious what's being said. So I'm going to let you draw your own conclusions on that one just for the sake of time. But I can't even remember what the other episode was. What was the other episode?
The other episode, which one was that?
See, that's a bad sign, right?
Yeah, I'm already trying to think.
So you've got...
What was the other one? Have we not done them all? Have we not? There's 5, 6.
I feel like I have to look it up.
I think you should. Have you got your... So we'll be back in a second. This is how... The thing is, when we get that episode, we're going to be like, oh yeah. Yeah, that one.
Oh, God. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Very professional. We've only got a couple of minutes left.
I know. I'm going. We can go a couple of minutes long if we need
to. Episode 6 as well, kind of, because Lisa and my girlfriend was kind of like about like their...
Episode 6 was the one that...
It's kind of like Katie Hopkins. I was kind of like, could you imagine if she was... Do you reckon she was a bit of an influence on where they were going with that one?
Hated in the Nation.
Oh, he's got it.
No, that's that one. Playtest, we've done that one. Man Against Fire, we've done that one.
Should we put on some like elevator
music?
music?
Nosedive, we've done that one.
Oh! Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot. This was
This
such
was
a good episode.
That was actually a good
How
episode.
did I forget about that one? Oh man. Okay, we're going to have to go a few minutes long.
Yeah, this actually was a really good episode.
This was so good. I can't believe I forgot about that.
I know,
one.
and that was actually
there's
one of
me
my-
being like, oh, that's a bad sign. And it was such a
It's
good
actually
one.
one of the better ones, to be honest.
I was on the edge of my seat for the whole time.
And I must say, that young lad, he's a bloody great actor.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Because the whole time as well, I'm just going to go straight into the spoilers.
Spoiler.
The whole time I was going, there's got to be something more to this because all he's done is add a wank in front of his webcam. Like, there's got to be something more because there's a guy going, I'm going to lose my marriage, I'm going to lose... And I'm like...
And they've all done really horrible
Yeah,
stuff.
and he's there, and I'm there going, all he's done is add a wank. And then after a while I was kind of like...
But in my head, I was
Kinda
like...
seeing where he's
Because
going,
he was so
maybe.
young, I could see where his innocence might make it
Well,
feel
that's
a lot
where
worse
I
than
thought it was
actually
going at first. Because, like, and it was that moment when he was having the argument in the car with the guy that I went, okay.
Yeah, and he was like, that's nothing, like, trying to
Yeah,
play it
yeah,
down,
yeah.
like, just a little...
Yeah. But, oh, it was so, so good.
I like that as well, I think, because it was quite moral in the sense that it's a bit like Anonymous. I could imagine if they start getting into that industry, and they could do stuff like that.
They could.
There's already been, like, articles out about people's webcams filming them having
Mm-hmm.
sex in their room or their smart TVs and stuff like that. But it was kind of, I think what Charlie Brooker was trying to say on there is that, you know what, later in time, that if you people think they're totally anonymous online, and which means you can get away with anything.
Yeah.
And I think what Charlie Brooker is trying to say is actually with the kind of like good police of the internet, eventually they're going to out people who are mistreating the internet, and it's
We're
easy
already
to
starting
do.
to see it happen.
Yeah.
We are already starting to
Well,
see
look
it
at
happen.
Hillary Clinton's emails. She's got some emails that have gone
Well,
out.
apparently she hasn't.
Well, I don't
Let's
know.
not get too political, but
I'm not
apparently
gonna,
she hasn't.
okay, she might not, but I'm just saying that if people want to do that, if
They
you've got
can.
some suspicious emails, some attachments that you shouldn't be looking at, stuff
right.
like that, somebody out there knows how to get it. And I think he was kind of saying, like, yeah, you think the internet is hidden and no one can get in, but actually there's a lot of holes.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, you need to, if you're going to use such a powerful system,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be using it ethically.
And the thing that also I thought was really interesting, the thing that jumped out to me, and it's something that I've thought for quite a while. Like before, if you wanted to find something out about someone, it was very, very difficult. Now, these days, all you need is a name. All you need is a name. And if you are adamant enough to find out what you want to find out, you can find it out.
Definitely.
Without question. And again, it's this anonymity, this idea that really, if you're putting yourself out there, you are not anonymous, and people will find out everything. And like, if you are up to stuff that you shouldn't be up to, like, how easy is it to completely blackmail you?
And
Everything that happens online is recorded now.
And I think as well, like the other side of that, which I kind of think he uses a similar side, is that whole thing about like sexting and like people who put pictures on the internet and then suddenly they can be used against you to give money to do this, to do that. And I think it shows you that I think he's trying to say is like use this thing carefully and use it ethically and like understand that whatever you, as soon as you take a picture, like I always say, like if you take a picture, like as soon as it's on your phone, it's kind of not yours anymore.
Yeah.
Which is scary to say because somebody knows how to get it.
Yeah.
So you might be sending like a fancy picture to your boyfriend, but the minute it's taken, it is now available to someone else. I'm sure somewhere in Apple's thingy they've got, we can have access or we can use. I don't know what the rules and
Well,
regulations
no,
are.
Apple don't. In their terms
here we go.
No, because the difference with Apple, and this is and this I think this is a fair point to consider actually, is that Apple, although yes, it's all hooked up to their system, they don't have access to it.
Yeah.
Whereas with Google,
It's
when it's
encrypted,
on
right?
their system, Google have access to it. Google are collecting the data, Apple aren't.
But in the same way,
But at the same time, if somebody wants, it's still up in the internet.
So
Either
some-
way,
it's
so somebody
somebody's-
can get to it.
somebody's created the
It is
software to
possible.
hold it hidden, but then I mean somewhere probably has a gap to get it out.
Right.
In the same way
Exactly.
all the phones got hacked. from
So
people.
so it doesn't really matter whether Apple
regulations
yeah.
or not. If somebody
The
wants
point
something,
is, it's there.
Yeah.
It can be got to, and actually, we've seen it because we had the iCloud,
Mm-hmm.
which is Apple's cloud service, got hacked, and all of the celebrities' sexting photos got put out there.
and I think that's it. Really, it's that idea that actually, once it's digitized, once you've done something, it is out there. Once you've got a trail of everything you've done on the internet, it's somewhere. Somebody
Yeah.
could get to it. And I think that's what I think people don't really think about that so much. And I think when people said, "Oh, Google knows more about you than you know, like your partner or your friend knows about you.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of concept that he's trying to plant into people's head and just be like conscious of your internet usage, because I think I had an idea for a t-shirt, like every click is data. And I think it's so true. Every little click on anything you do is just building up that portfolio of who you are online in a scary way. And sometimes that might expose you as doing these kind of dark stuff that he used in that episode.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, we've gone a little bit long, so we do need to wrap up. But
yes, fascinating stuff though.
I mean, I could have talked for another half hour about all of these episodes. Really, really good. But we're going to leave it there. Check out those episodes, particularly that last one, because we haven't given any analysis on that one. So check that one out, because we haven't finished it either.
Yeah.
Check that one out. And also, if you've been watching on Facebook Live, thank you. If you haven't liked our Facebook page yet, please do. If you go to powerfulnonsense.com/Facebook, it will take you straight there. And yeah,
that's all.
That's all I'm gonna ask this week. That's all I'm gonna ask.
Are you watching Humans?
Well, I didn't finish season 1, so I need to finish season 1, and then I'm going to go into season 2.
Because that's quite interesting too.
Yeah. It's very much up my street. I just never got around to finishing season 1.
I'm just happy this kind of stuff is being pushed out to people's mindsets. And I think I was saying as well, like, I think that actually, I think people need to start seeing stuff like this, because I do think it's coming. And I think people shouldn't be...
It's here. It's not even that it's coming. It's here.
It shouldn't be afraid. And I think even like little things where the lady walks in the room and presses a button and the blinds change, like from a mobile and the blinds go, like all the way they're just dropping these little futuristic things that are going to happen. I think they're already happening. And so I think people just are going to have to adopt it, and I think it's going to be a quick radical change. We're already seeing driverless cars and many other things in the future, so yeah,
so keep those eyes peeled.
Excellent.
Great, so thanks very much for tuning in, guys, and we'll catch you next time.
See you later.